the Eagle offensive line, and we're 14 days out. Thank you, Rob. All good, man. And we've been going over the rooms. Here's the Eagle O-line. Lane Johnson, exceptional athlete. Hands, feet, all the intangibles. Slides his feet well. Smart. Gifted and patient. Absolutely great in strength. He's one of the best right tackles I've seen in the last 25 years. And I'm going to make a comparison to you guys. Okay? I think that Lane Johnson reminds me of Bruce Matthews. How many people believe that Lane Johnson could probably play every position in the O-line? Guard, any one of them, left tackle. He could probably play center even if you had to. He's so good, man. And when you watch him week in and week out, here's a guy that could probably give you snaps on defense. He's so gifted. I mean, wow. There's not any more you could say. And he's a Bruce Matthews type player. Hey, Quan. JM, you could probably put him at tight end, and he could probably excel at it. He's just so gifted. Right tackle, best in the sport. That says a lot. Jason Kelce, undersized, smart, and a complete effort guy. He plays every single – when you put the 22 on and you put on game film and you watch Jason Kelce plays the game like every single play is the last play of his career. He slips and scoops. He gets up on linebackers. He gets to the third level. He's not he's not the biggest guy on the planet, but he plays so strong, and he's that raw bone country guy. But he's a technician. Man, he gets up. He's not as athletic as Kevin Mawai. But I think all the other things that he does better than Mawai. I think he's patient too, especially in pass protection. He knows exactly what's in front of him and not even fronts. He sends the pass protection. And to me, do you know why he's one of the most important people the Eagles bring back every year? Do you know how important that is to have a guy like that in front of Jalen Hurts so that Jalen Hurts doesn't have to, with all the things that go on in the RPO, you got a guy in the offensive line in Jason Kelce that's another component that Jalen doesn't have to have and help setting the pass protection, because the center sets the pass protection, and Jalen doesn't have to worry about that. That's one less thing for Hurts to have in his repertoire when he calls out the sequence of play. He doesn't have to set odd even, 34, 43. He doesn't have to do any of that because Kelce takes care of that. He's like having a quarterback in your offensive line. Exceptional football player. And a 6th-round draft choice, unbelievable steal. You found a guy like that in the 6th round who's going to Canton. You can't say enough about it. Okay? You just can't. Landon Dickerson, left guard, getting better and better and better and better and better every single time he steps on a football field. He's got great feet in traffic. Powerful. Has to still be a little more patient. See, I'm giving you how I see as a defensive tackle, how I see your O-line. Okay? Aggressive. I think Stoutland has to pull him back a little bit and teach him to be a little more patient, because he's an aggressive, powerful, strong, wants to get in your ass. He's more athletic than you think, too. I think he's on the heels of becoming one of the best left guards in the NFL. And when Zach Martin calls it a career, you're talking about this guy, the guy. There's a few other guys around the league that are really exceptional left guards, he's right there. And it would not shock me if he breaks out this year where you look at him, he's all pro. Just really fantastic football player and talent. And he's just getting better. Jordan Mailata, left tackle. Excellent athlete. And I'll say this to you. I think Jordan Mailata may be the best athlete in the O-line. Did you hear what I said? Jordan Mailata just might be the best athlete in the offensive line. Because how do you attribute a guy who's never played football, let alone tackle? Let alone tackle and left tackle. How do you account for this? And now he's one of the best left tackles in the sport. And he's only been doing it for 3-4 years. How do you account for that? He's never put a chin strap on. I mean, this guy's he's never put football cleats on. He's never put he probably didn't even know how to put his shoulder pads on. How in the world do you account for that? And for him to play like that? He's the best athlete in the Eagle O-line is Jordan Mailata. You can't attribute anything to him but his athleticism. It's unbelievable. And he's that way at that size. He's a prototype. Can I tell you who I think you guys may think I'm nuts here, but can I tell you who I see when I see him? I see Jonathan Ogden. I see someone like that. Big, tall, long arms, athletic. He just needs more reps and continues to just play. He's going to, by the time he's 35, he'll be the best offensive tackle in the game. He is just an absolute insane athlete. I've never seen a guy who's never played organized football in his life become one of the top 10 offensive tackles in 3 years. It's unheard of. He's never played it. Never played organized football. Went to a camp in Miami. They put pads on him, and he didn't even know how to put a helmet on. It's insane. It's insane. He keeps trending this way. He'll be Jonathan Ogden. He's like that. Dude, man, what? Get this. So your two tackles could start for the Sixers. That's how athletic they are. Think about that. Your two tackles could play reserve for the Sixers. You could send them in like Lambeer. Tony Baselli's not as big. He's not as big as Mailata. And Tony Baselli was a lot like Anthony Munoz. Okay? Munoz, big, technician, strong. The best fundamental left tackle I've ever seen is Anthony Munoz, a friend of mine. He's the best I've ever seen. And the best lineman I've ever seen is Matthews, because he could play all 5 positions, and he did. I think Bruce Matthews was an all-pro at center, guard, and tackle. Very rarely do you see a guy who could do all that. Mike Munchak was a great guard. You know, I see a little Landon Dickerson and Mike Munchak. I see a little bit of that. Okay? Hey, Chuck, do you know how great Anthony Munoz was? Anthony Munoz didn't play his last year at Southern Cal. He played one game, the Rose Bowl. Then he was the 3rd pick. He was hurt all the time at Southern Cal, right? Then he went on to play 14 years, was never hurt in Cincinnati. Insane player. Just dominant, big, strong, great guy, whole deal, super teammate. But I see Mailata more in like the Jonathan Ogden. He more like in the Jonathan Ogden type, something like that. Okay? Something like that, somewhere in there. Dickerson's really a fine ball player. Cam Jurgens. Little undersized, but that's not his natural position. Right guard. It's not his natural position. Um, Tough, strong, aggressive. This is the one thing that they're going to have to coach out it. Hey, when I say this, I hope you understand. What you don't want is this. He's an aggressive guy. And a lot of guys in college are aggressive in the offensive line. What happens when you're aggressive? Okay, follow me here. When you're aggressive and you punch out, the guys today slap arm over, slap rip, because they'll tug, pull, rip when you're lunging. If you're a lunger, you can't do that to Quentin Williams. He'll shake you like a bag of rice. Okay? You got to be patient. And you got to sit there. Now, right guard's different than left guard because that's your run dominant side. So he could afford to be a little bit more aggressive on that side, but don't lunge because these defensive tackles, Tone and I were talking, these defensive tackles today, man, they'll grab your shirt and jersey and they will shake you like a bag of rice and they'll shake the change out of your pocket and they'll get around you and over you because they're that athletic today. So you can't be lunging like that. It's going to be interesting to see, okay? It's going to be interesting to see how he plays because I think the other kid, Tyler Steen, that they drafted, I think he's more fundamentally set up to be that. But first on Jurgens, I think Jurgens is a good football player. And I think that he's going to have an opportunity to probably be the starter in there. And as mentioned, Tyler Steen, he's your future right tackle, in my opinion. Really a good athlete, not aggressive. And could that help him in the pros more than it helped him in college? Probably. That's the big thing in fundamental teaching that you have to do with college guys that were at dominant programs like Alabama and Georgia. You know what that is? You got to teach that aggressiveness because you go against lesser players sometimes and you can beat the shit out of them. But when you're in the NFL, these guys have all the games, they have all the tricks, and you can't be that aggressive like that. So that could play into him. He's a Bama kid, means he was well coached. So he gets it. It's going to be interesting to see. Give him some reps. I'd like to see him get a ton of reps in the preseason or in the organized team activities. I think he could be a pretty good football player. So let's see how he matriculates into Jeff Stoutland's plans. I got Jack Driscoll here. I know there's other guys, but I stopped at Driscoll. He's a Swiss Army knife. You could play him at guard, tackle, and get this. The Eagles decided to stick with Jack Driscoll over Andre Dillard because you know why? He had the ability to show latitude in playing other positions where Dillard didn't. Dillard pushed back on playing other positions. Jack Driscoll has a job with the Eagles because, look, he's not the greatest player, but you know what he is? Jack Driscoll could probably start on 65% of the NFL teams in the league today. Always put that in perspective when you're talking Eagles and the O-line. This guy could start on pretty much every single team in the NFC East. He could start pretty much on any team in the NFC. Around the league, probably 65 to 70% of the teams he could start. And when you're being coached the way he's been coached, Jack Driscoll is an important part of this depth here with the Eagles. So here's how I look at this. This is what the Eagles do. Plus you have Stoutland, the best coach in the NFL. So you have the best position coach in franchise history at any position, coaching the best group in the NFL. It's really not close. The Philadelphia Eagles, once again, had the best offensive line, the best depth, the best coach, the best formula, the best coaching, the best player development at this position and this room of any team in the league. And I will say this to you. If Kansas City has the best quarterback and it's not close to the second guy, the Philadelphia Eagles have the best offensive line group, and it's not close. There's not another group in the league that's this close. Detroit has a good group. I think Cleveland's good. The Ravens are not bad. They got a good group. Not like this. There's just It's not close. I don't think. Okay? Now, they were fortunate a year ago because they had a lot of depth. Dillard not being in there, because when you have Dillard and Jack Driscoll as your backups, look at the deal that Dillard just got with the Titans. It's a great group. Yeah, well, JM goes, the Packers. Yeah, but Bakhtiari's always hurt, JM, and is he going to be ready for even training camp? Bakhtiari's a great tackle. He surely is. But is he going to be ready for camp? You know? Yeah, Steen has short arms. That's probably why they're putting him over at right guard. Okay? It's really a sensational group. So look what we've done here in 2 days. Eagles have the best cornerback room, in my opinion, in the NFL. And they got the best offensive line in the National Football League. Premium positions in the league that you have to win ball games. A fabulous job by Howie. A fabulous job by everybody in the organization bringing talent in, player development. I mean, you can afford to move off of Andre Dillard and you're developing guys. It's really great. It's a fabulous, fabulous job. It's just, and you know me, I'm not much on that kind of stuff, but I'd be lying to you if I said anything. If I said anything different. Okay? If I said anything different. All right. Hour number 2. Philly 500 will join us at 4:30. I want to hit a little bit more on the Chiefs. Okay? I want to hit a little bit more on the Chiefs and also, too, a little bit on Saquon Barkley, too, by the way. So think about it like this. For the past decade, the Eagles have had weak cornerbacks and wide receiver rooms. Howie has flipped that on his head. Absolutely. And when you take into account, Tone, that in the Super Bowl, 17 of the 22 guys that took the field that night were drafted. You talk about changing your draft and how people look at you as a drafter when 17 of 22 starters are NFC champions and you're 3 points away or 4 points away from winning a Super Bowl. I don't know. That's a job well done. Hour 2, keep it here on the National.